नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So this is the verse in the Bhagavatam, text 13. So the sages of Naimisharanya are assembled in the forest of Naimisharanya. They are headed by Shaunaka Rishi, and they are putting forward questions to Suta Goswami. The sages have assembled in the forest of Naimisharanya to perform 1,000-year sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. This is just in the beginning of Kali Yuga. And they have posed 6 questions to Suta Goswami, and in answer to those 6 questions is the entire Srimad-Bhagavatam. And Suta Goswami himself had previously heard the Bhagavatam when it was spoken by Shukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. So this time the Bhagavatam is being spoken for the second time. So here in this verse it is said, Atapumbir Dvijasreshtha Varnashrama Vibhagashaha Swanushthitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. The purpose of this Varnashrama Dharma is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains what is this Varnashrama Dharma and how this Varnashrama Dharma is based on birth, not based on birth, but by one's guna and karma, and how it is misused in Kali Yuga. These are the 3 broad things which Srila Prabhupada explains in this purport. So, basically, Prabhupada says Varnashrama Dharma consists of 4 social divisions, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and 4 spiritual divisions, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasi. So these 8 divisions, 4 of them social divisions and 4 of them spiritual divisions, they exist for Samsiddhir Haritoshanam, for pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And further Prabhupada says, the Varnashrama institution is constructed to enable one to realize the absolute truth. A human form of life is distinguished from animal life in the sense that human life is an opportunity to inquire about the Supreme Lord. Who am I? Who is God? And what is my relationship with Him? This subject matter constitutes Vedanta, the end of all the Vedas. Who am I? Who is God? And what is my relationship with Him? So such inquiries, who am I? Who is God? And what is my relationship with Him? Can be done only in the human form of life. Animals are unable to make such an inquiry. Although the other activities of eating, sleeping, mating and defending, they happen in animal life also. So, in order to ensure that the entire society progresses towards this realizing the absolute truth, this Varnashrama Dharma is created by the Supreme Lord. As Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad-gita, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasa. So the purpose of this Varnashrama Dharma is to realize the absolute truth. Now in Kali Yuga, what happens is, as Prabhupada says, this purpose is forgotten. The purpose of this Varnashrama Dharma, or the purpose of life itself, is forgotten. That is, it's realizing God. Then, when the purpose of life is forgotten, then this Varnashrama Dharma degrades into a caste system where artificial domination of one division over another takes place. This is not the intended purpose of the Varnashrama Dharma. The purpose is to realize the absolute truth and go back to the Supreme Lord. That is why in the Varnashrama Dharma, the highest respect is given to the Brahmana. And the Brahmana is a person who has understood that no matter how successful and how comfortable we may live in this life, the problems of old age, disease and death, they are Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. They are inevitable. So Brahmana has got this vision In the Bhagavad-gita, 13th chapter, Krishna lists 20 items of knowledge to define who is a person who is situated in knowledge. And one of the items Krishna says is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Dosha Anudarshanam. He constantly sees the miseries of old age, disease and death. So a Brahmana is a person who has understood no matter how comfortable we can make our life, the death problem, old age problem and disease problem, this is very much part of this material world. So the Brahmana is making strenuous efforts to get out of these four problems, to find a solution to this problem and go back to Godhead. This is the qualification of a Brahmana. And because a Brahmana is situated in such a mindset of very rigorously and strenuously endeavoring to become free from old age, disease and death and attain the Supreme Lord, there is no tendency of competing for sense gratification in a Brahmana. That tendency is not there because he is totally detached. He has understood the nature of this material world, that no matter how much we accumulate, how much we keep ourselves comfortable, one day I have to leave this world and go. He has understood the powerful influence of Kala or time which is prevalent in this material world. Such a person, a qualified Brahmana, if he is at the top of the society, then everybody else can get proper guidance under him and execute the purpose of life. Therefore, in the former times, nobody had any grudge or ill feeling towards the system of Varnashrama. Because the people who are situated in the top of the Varnashrama, they are not interested in this world at all. They are not interested in capturing power. They are not interested in accumulating wealth for themselves. They are not even interested in their social respect. They are simply interested in the Supreme Lord, Brahman. That is why Brahmana is defined as Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. So when such Brahmanas, such real Brahmanas exist in the society and give proper guidance to the rest of the society, everybody is happy. Everybody is satisfied and there is no ill feeling towards this system of Varnashrama Dharma. Now in Kali Yuga, for the past 5,000 years, several times we find in Srila Prabhupada's purports, Prabhupada saying that real Brahmanas don't exist in the society. Because such a mindset is not there, such a strenuous endeavor is not there, such that he is interested only in the absolute truth. Therefore, this Varnashrama Dharma created by the Supreme Lord for the higher purpose of self-realization gets degraded into artificial domination of one division into another. And that creates lot of problems in the society, lot of misuse in the society, and so much so that people are have contempt to even hear the word Varnashrama Dharma today, at least. So that is the kind of situation today is. So Srila Prabhupada explained Varnashrama Dharma very scientifically and very nicely, and by this we are able to understand that it is not for artificial predominance of the stronger section towards the weaker section, but it is meant for elevating everyone to the platform of absolute truth and smooth social intercourse and high thinking self-realization. This is the intended purpose of Varnashrama Dharma. When such a consciousness is absent, then it degrades into the present day caste system, which has created a lot of problems in the society. Prabhupada concludes this purport by saying that the statement of the Bhagavatam is that the highest aim of life or the highest perfection of the institution of Varnashrama Dharma is to cooperate jointly for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, and this is confirmed in the Bhagavad-gita 4.13. That is the famous verse which Krishna says, Chaturvarne maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. Vibhagashaha, this division, Chaturvarnyam, is based on guna and karma. And if you see the purport, Prabhupada also writes that these castes are classified in terms of one's work and qualification and not by birth. So whenever this question came up, Prabhupada always quoted this verse 4.13 from the Bhagavad-gita to say that Krishna's verdict is Chatur Varnem Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasaha, based on guna and karma and not by janma. But there are people who have an understanding, a different understanding of this verse also. They say, guna karma vibhagasaha, that guna and karma itself is determined by janma or birth. There are many scholars of the Vedic literature, even today, who hold such a view, that Krishna says guna karma vibhagasaha, and they say guna and karma is determined by janma, number one. And number two, that guna and karma cannot be changed by anything else other than punarjanma. This is the prevalent understanding we have. Now the difficulty here is, such persons do not know the power of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is where the root problem comes from. In the 14th chapter, Krishna says, Maam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaityan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in devotional service to the Supreme Lord, Maam chayo, Krishna is referring to himself, bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaityan. He transcends the modes, influence of the modes of material nature. So people who argue that guna karma vibhagasaha, that guna and karma is fixed in a particular janma and it can be changed only by punarjanma, they do not know the power of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By engaging in devotional service to the Supreme Lord, as Krishna says, Maam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan. He transcends the three modes of material nature. So somebody may be situated in tamoguna, somebody may be situated in rajoguna, somebody is situated in a mixture of rajoguna and tamoguna, somebody is situated in a mix of sattva-guna and rajoguna, whatever he may be. But if he engages in devotional service, Maam chayo avyabhicharena, without fail, avyabhicharena, bhakti yogena sevate, sagunan samatityetan, brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He is elevated to the Brahman platform. He transcends the position of a Brahmana also. Because Brahmana is supposed to be situated in Sattva-guna. And Krishna is saying here, one who engages in devotional service, Maam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate, sagunan samatityetan, brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He transcends Sattva-guna also and becomes situated in Brahman. So, people who do not know the power of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, they put forward such arguments that guna and karma cannot be changed by anything other than by punarjanma. Whereas those who are devotees of the Supreme Lord, they know the power of devotional service. Others, those who do not receive this knowledge of devotional service through a proper disciplic succession, they take it that such devotional activities to the Supreme Lord are another form of punya karma. That is how they take it. It is another form of punya karma, and by performing such punya karma, one is gradually elevated. Whereas it is an offense to consider devotional service as another form of punya karma. One of the 10 offenses of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra as one of the pious activities which are mentioned in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedic literature. So, this verse of the Bhagavad-gita, where Krishna says that one transcends the modes of material nature and Brahma bhuyaya kalpate, he situates himself on the Brahman platform, is the way to understand that guna and karma is changed by the process of devotional service. So by engaging in devotional service, one's guna and karma is completely transformed. So therefore, this argument that guna and karma is determined by janma and it is fixed for a particular janma and it cannot be changed by anything other than punarjanma is not accepted by the statements of Bhagavad-gita as explained by Krishna. So this is most important to note. So therefore, we can understand that Krishna's words in the Bhagavad-gita explaining the power of devotional service. So this knowledge of devotional service is most confidential. That is why in the 9th chapter is called most confidential knowledge, because this devotional service has been explained by Krishna in detail. And those who receive this knowledge of devotional service in the proper disciplic succession and engage themselves very seriously, they can understand how devotional service transforms their consciousness, how it elevates them from lower gunas to higher gunas. So these are the two important points from this purport. Number one, that varnashrama dharma, the purpose is to realize the absolute truth. And when it is not done in Kali Yuga, people forget that the absolute truth is the purpose of one's life. Then the Varnashrama Dharma set up by the Supreme Lord for a higher purpose degrades into the present day caste system, which is nothing but artificial domination of one division over another. This is the problem. And secondly, that a person's guna and karma is not determined by the birth, but by his activities and in what sort of consciousness he is situated in. And even if a person is situated in the lower gunas, by the performance of devotional service, he transcends the gunas and reaches the platform which is transcendental to the three gunas, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So, whenever such arguments would come up, Prabhupada always in his very beautiful preaching style would always quote from Bhagavad-gita and establish Krishna's words as the highest authority. So, this is the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's preaching. Prabhupada established the entire Siddhanta of Krishna consciousness simply by quoting from one book, Bhagavad-gita as it is. Although the Vedic literatures are very vast, and apparently, if one studies the Vedic literatures, one may apparently feel there are different contradictions. In one place the Vedas say something, in another place it says something. So it's difficult for people to reconcile. Prabhupada reconciled all such seemingly contradictory ideas just by quoting from Krishna's words in the Bhagavad-gita. So whenever this question of guna and karma used to come up, Varnashrama Dharma used to come up, Prabhupada settled this argument by saying that Krishna's verdict is final. Chatur varnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasaha, based on one's quality and based on occupational duty. Guna karma. In this way, Prabhupada established the Siddhanta of Krishna consciousness very convincingly, very beautifully, by repeatedly quoting from Krishna's words. And sometimes there is an argument also that even somebody is engaged in devotional service, the previous vasanas are still there in his subtle body and in gross body. So how can such a person be accepted as a Brahmana? The old Deha is there. There is once such an argument had come up. So Prabhupada at that time, he quoted Bhagavad-gita 2.13, where Krishna says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatrana mukhit. Basically, the body is changing and the soul is not changing. This is a famous verse in the Bhagavad-gita. So Prabhupada quoted this verse, Dehinosmin yatha dehe, to say that anybody who is engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Lord, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, offering obeisances to the deity, taking prasadam, and all these devotional activities, his deha also changes. This is the argument with Prabhupada. As Krishna says, Dehino asmin yatha dehe, deha is constantly changing. So due to previous karma, previous guna and karma, somebody may have got a particular type of subtle body and a particular type of gross body. But when the person starts engaging in devotional service, his subtle body also changes and gross body changes, because Krishna himself is saying in the Bhagavad-gita, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. Body is changing every moment. So the person who engages in devotional service for some number of years, he has actually got a different body. So somebody has engaged in devotional service for 5 years, 10 years. He has actually changed his body. So this subtle body and this gross body is not the same as what it was previously, because the influence of devotional service, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the prasadam, and offering obeisances to the deity, all such spiritual devotional activities, they have their influence on the consciousness. They change the subtle body, and the gross body also changes, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita. So this way, Prabhupada's a very unique and beautiful, very authoritative preaching style, whenever such contradictory or apparent situations used to come, is to settle the issue by quoting very authoritatively from Krishna's words in the Bhagavad-gita. This is the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's preaching. Even when the question of this vegetarian, non-vegetarian, generally we have all such discussions among people. Prabhupada settled the debate very beautifully. Said, we don't care for vegetarian, we don't care for non-vegetarian. Krishna says, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. So these are the categories of foodstuffs which Krishna accepts. And whatever Krishna accepts, we also accept. So in this way, whenever such even people who apparently have some knowledge of Vedic literatures and they quote something from the Vedas to establish some particular point. Prabhupada established the final conclusion by quoting from Krishna in the Bhagavad-gita, and this way, very convincingly, he settled all such apparent issues. So with these few words, we will stop today's class. Granjaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande.